Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. Today, the Supremes and fat and more. Andy's got the rundown.
Sam, last Sunday, the Las Vegas Review-Journal in an editorial asked, when will somebody run against Deborah Agosti for the Supreme Court? We'll put that same question to Attorney John Mason this morning. And then we talked to Dr. Bradford Lee, the state's medical officer. Just how fat is Nevada? Sam?
Thanks, Andy. And coming up on the Pundit panel today, Keith Lee, Martha Gould, and Harry York. It's all coming up next on the all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by Charter Communication.
The Abowed family has an appetite for dialogue. Agree or disagree, have the conversation. All opinions are welcome. Since 1977, Adele's.
Catch a straight, dine at 8. Lucky you. Lucky you. Dance till 1. Have some fun. Lucky you. Lucky you. Taste the shrimp. Have a sip. Try the pool. Play it cool. At the Sienna Hotel Spa Casino. Lucky you. Yeah!
The biggest risk your company can take.
Well, Barbara, you did very well on your interview.
Hiring employees can help your business get to the next level.
And your resume looks outstanding.
And it can also expose you to corporate crimes and costly lawsuits that can bring your company to its knees.
So, we'd like to offer you a position.
Before you hire another employee, hire the professionals at Employer Links. Call today to get our free CD-ROM, The Top 8 Risk of Hiring Employees.
If you own a business and want to maximize your company's potential, join the Retail Association of Nevada. Our membership benefits include the Nevada Retail Network Self-Insured Group, providing workers' compensation coverage that can lower your rates. That savings can go directly to your bottom line. We are an effective pro-business organization that lobbies on behalf of our business members. The Retail Association of Nevada, protecting Nevada businesses for 35 years. Call 882-1700 to see what we can do for your organization.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad, political analyst Ande Engleman on No Holds Barred Political Forum. Now, from the News 4 Broadcast Center, here's Sam Shad.
And welcome back to Nevada Newsmakers. We're joined by John Mason, who's an entertainment attorney and a Republican leader. And I'm going to get to this right off the bat. Are you planning to run for the Supreme Court for Deborah Agosti's seat?
Well, there goes that plan.
What a surprise question, Sam. Yes, I am.
Okay, so you're declaring on this program that you are going to run.
Yes, I am.
Did you answer the call of the Las Vegas Review-Journal, or did you make up your own mind?
I have been looking into this since the court's ill-fated decision to overturn the Gibbons tax initiative, but I have spoken to a number of people in our state, including the governor and our senator, about my decision to run in this seat against Chief Justice Agosti.
John, why is it you want to run against Deborah Agosti?
I think that the Chief Justice has been the prototype for a court that's ignoring the will of the people. She's the author of the decision that effectively nullified the people's choice on the tax initiative. She has made several decisions recently on matters including conflicts of interest where I think she's been wrong, and I think she needs to be replaced.
All right, John, what bothered you the most about the decision that came out from the Supreme Court on the 2/3?
Well, I think the court has been ignoring the will of the people of the state of Nevada, and the Nevada Constitution itself states that the people are in charge of the government, and it's the court's position to interpret the law, not to make law. The Gibbons Tax Restraint Initiative was passed twice by more than 70% majority. It was the people's will that the state legislature have a 2/3 majority to increase taxes. And subsequent to the court's decision to effectively void the Gibbons Tax Restraint Initiative on grounds that we could discuss another time, the court issued a second opinion in which they said the people obviously didn't understand that by passing this tax restraint initiative, it would give the 1/3 minority the opportunity to hold up tax legislation. Well, I think that's an insult to the people. And I think it's time for someone to stand up for the people, and that's exactly what I plan to do in this race.
For people that don't know you well, let's review your background a little bit. You've been in Nevada how many years?
16 years.
16 years. You are an attorney.
Yes, I am.
And you ran for office once before in 1994, I think it was?
1994, I sat with Sam Shad in another place and talked about politics quite a bit. And we also talked about the entertainment industry, which is where we both have our backgrounds.
Because you are, in fact, an entertainment attorney.
Yes.
Right? And we probably need to explain what that is for people.
Well, I'm a lawyer for entertainers. I'm a lawyer strictly in the business sense. I'm not a criminal lawyer. I'm not a personal injury lawyer. I'm a business lawyer. I negotiate major agreements, big long-term agreements for motion pictures, television, music contracts, that sort of thing.
Okay, let me ask you a question that has been my pet peeve for the last several years, and I've asked every Supreme Court justice that I've interviewed over the last couple of years about this question, so I might as well ask you as you're going to be running for the Supreme Court. Even though it is legal, but I find it highly inappropriate that Supreme Court justices who are not up for re-election, after the election, if there's a pay raise involved, they then sit on boards and commissions that pay them the exact same amount of money they would have gotten if they'd have gotten the pay raise. Do you think that's right?
I do not, Sam, and I promise that I will not do that. This will be my job. I will make it my job and have no other job or a source of income. I think people have a right to expect the employees of the state of Nevada to, as they do, work for their pay and not have other jobs that conflict with their duties to the state and the people of the state.
All right, John, let me ask you a question that someone else may bring up. You say your specialty has been entertainment law. How will you feel about having to deal with criminal cases and constitutional matters and so forth?
Well, very good. In fact, I look forward to getting back to the more academic world of law. When I went to law school, I was the managing editor of the California Law Review, which is a significant position in editing and writing opinions on cases that come up through the system, through the legal system. And I think my background in legal research and writing and in litigation and litigation consulting is very, very strong.
Let me ask you this. It's a very expensive thing to run for a Supreme Court justice race in this state, and sometimes can get pretty bloody. What kind of campaign do you plan to run, and how much money do you plan to have to raise or put in yourself for this campaign?
Well, I look forward to a very, very positive campaign. I don't think there's a personal aspect to campaigns for office. This isn't a political office. This is a nonpartisan office.
Yeah, but we've seen some of the bloodiest races in the state's history over the last decade or so in Supreme Court justice races.
Well, you're right, and I coincidentally yesterday was looking at a tape of some of the commercials that had run in past Supreme Court races just to get an idea of how they go, and I was quite surprised as well at the level to which they went down. But I don't think that's necessary. I certainly don't plan to do that. I have heard only nice things about Chief Justice Agasti, and there's no plan in my mind whatsoever to look into her personal life. I think her decisions speak for themselves.
How do you plan to finance the race?
Well, I think I can raise a significant amount of money for the race, Sam. I am prepared to put in as much money as necessary myself. I'm in the fortunate position of being independent. I don't need special interest money. I'm not going to be looking for special interest money, and I'm certainly not going to be making any commitments to anyone or any business in terms of what I would or wouldn't do on the court. And I think it's worth noting recently that a staff attorney for the Supreme Court resigned, believing that the court's the court's decisions have recently been influenced by contributions and political ramifications, and I certainly do not plan to let that happen.
Did you read the column in the Las Vegas Review Journal by Vin Sipronowicz, who said that his source came to him and said that the fix was in at the Supreme Court over that decision?
I did read that, yes.
Do you believe that?
I don't have any information, Sam, to tell you that I do or do not believe that. I read the editorial, and I know that a number of people do believe that. I don't know that there's any way to prove it, and I certainly am not intent on looking into that issue.
Okay, John Mason, thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome.
See you again. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this timeout.
Hi, I'm Dan.
And I'm Terry.
And this is Dan's Pizza and Parlor. Everything we make here is from scratch. Our fresh cut fries, homemade hamburgers made to order, fresh pizza dough made with 3 types of flour, and Terry's secret pizza sauce, and Dreyer's world famous ice cream. And if you have a sports team, your kids can really have a great time here. Oh! Dan's Pizza and Parlor on Victorian Avenue, just down the street from Great Basin Brewery next to Pyramid Highway.
Would you like to savor a Trento pork chop? Or maybe pasta rags with grilled chicken? Hugo's Tuscan Grill at DeAndrea is a celebration of color, flavor, and freshness. Each dish is created from natural, wholesome foods that is delicious and nutritious. Hugo's is a comfortable restaurant with breathtaking city views. If you enjoy great food and good company, visit us here at Hugo's. It's the best that dining can be. 2900 South DeAndrea Parkway in Sparks.
Welcome to Sushi Club, best sushi in town. The Sushi Club in Independence Square used the best quality products. The sushi is dynamite, and the service is just wonderful.
The Sushi Club is bigger and better. We have 11 sushi chefs on staff, and the service is great.
All your friends will tell you that Sushi Club is the best place for the best sushi.
Come join us for lunch or dinner.
The Sushi Club, 294 East Moana Lane in the Independence Square.
Now that's great sushi.
To experience the royal cuisine of India, you need some serious magic or simply transport yourself to India Garden, right here in Reno, where you'll discover Indian specialties refined over centuries. Sikh kebab, tandoori dishes cooked in our own tandoor oven, biryani specialties, curries, fresh-baked Indian bread, over a dozen vegetarian dishes, even dishes rare to India like dosa, South Indian-style crepes. India Garden off South Virginia near Sports West. We are India.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad and Ande Engleman.
Back on Nevada Newsmakers, Dr. Bradford Lee is the Nevada State Medical Officer, and Andy's got questions.
Dr. Lee, thank you so much for being with us this morning. And I did see an article this week that said we have now risen. Health-wise, Nevada's moved up from 38th in the nation to 36th. We're improving.
Absolutely true.
All right, you are involved with a legislative study that's looking at obesity in Nevada. Is Nevada really fat?
Well, I think Nevada reflects the United States in that the number of people overweight and obese is climbing. And in fact, more than half the people in Nevada are either obese or overweight.
See what happens when you quit smoking? So you're going to be working on some recommendations for the committee to bring back to the legislature. Will those recommendations be educational in nature, or will they be more stringent, such as requiring restaurants to say how many calories are in everything on the menu?
I can't speak to what the exact recommendations will say, but they will have components of both of education and behavioral change.
Are you getting calls from the food industry asking for help at this point? Because they're being faced with a similar situation to which tobacco has suffered over the last few years, where they are now being perceived as the villain, and you can see that a lot of the fast food restaurants, for example, are starting to come up with healthier items on their menus. Are you getting questions like that?
Well, I'm not being asked directly by the food companies, but I know they are doing research and they are looking at modifying their menus so that they're decreasing the caloric intake and making healthier menu choices.
Dr. Lee, I know that we're 49th in the nation as far as the uninsured, which is one reason why we're not higher on this health list. And do you see any way to help that? I mean, obviously the insurance companies, you can't control what they're charging for health insurance.
Well, I think there are a number of initiatives looking at improving all aspects of healthcare, including the uninsured rate. I think that's one of the things we'll be addressing in the future.
Let's talk about the Fallon Cancer Cluster. What latest information do you have for us on that?
Well, it's interesting that you asked me that, because in terms of that, we have finished the study and we've had the expert panel review it, and they're going to give me a final report, and then we're going to meet with the folks in Fallon, hold a town meeting to distribute the report and the recommendations from that expert panel.
Can you give us a heads up on anything that's in that report?
Well, unfortunately, I was supposed to get together with the chief of the expert panel this week, but I haven't been able to find out his conclusions yet, because if there were further recommendations, we were going to try and execute those recommendations, whereas if there was nothing else that needed to be done, we'd like to know that also.
Okay, that's your homework. We need that back here as soon as possible, okay? All right, let's follow up also here in talking about prescription drugs and the current debate about whether we should be allowing importation of prescription drugs into the United States from California, or from Canada or Mexico or anywhere else for that matter. What's your thoughts on this?
Well, it seems to me that's a legislative decision in terms of...
What's your personal thought?
Well, really, what my job is to follow the will of the legislator, and I'll support whatever laws they make relative to this issue.
Well, what about marijuana? I didn't
Are you
ask
buying or selling?
Yeah, right. There's clearly a move by the legislature to provide medical marijuana to the people of this state. Are you involved in helping that come about?
No, we're not involved in that particular issue at all, with making that happen.
And so that's more what the Department of Agriculture that's handling that, I guess. But people do claim that medical marijuana is something that helps them.
Yes, ma'am.
And you're just not going to argue with anybody, are you?
Well, I think marijuana may have a place in medicine. I mean, so there are certain diseases that where conventional medicine hasn't worked, and marijuana may have a place.
Okay, let's go to the mundane, but maybe really important, is how big of a threat is this oncoming flu season?
This flu season has the potential for being very severe. The disease, not only in incidence, prevalence, but in severity, the potential is there. So the mantra is, get your flu shot.
Okay,
I won't be here tomorrow. I'm going to go get my flu shot.
Okay, deal. Dr. Bradford, thank you so much for being here. And we'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers with the Pundit panel. We're going to talk about the border regions right after this.
Before you head to Carson, take care of yourself with a visit to Tamarack Junction. Catch a hot cup of coffee and the morning news on one of our 32 TVs and enjoy the best food in South Reno. Tamarack Junction, your junction for fun. South Virginia and Amati Ranch Parkway.
The Aboud family has an appetite for dialogue. Agree or disagree, have the conversation. All opinions are welcome. Since 1977, Adele's.
Your home is an expression of all things comforting and familiar. For custom storage, you can count on California Closets to provide quality, value, and design integrity. The process is easy, combining your personal style with our organizing expertise. We care about what matters most to you, making your home functional and beautiful. California Closets, simplifying home and life since 1978. Call today for your complimentary design consultation.
When you sign up for Wells Fargo free checking, you get more than free checking. You get the freedom to bank when and where you want. Wells Fargo, the next stage.
Make your daily commute easy with breakfast or lunch at the Tamarack Junction. Enjoy daily specials, super fast service, and South Reno's freshest morning meals. Tamarack Junction, your junction for fun. South Virginia and Amati Ranch Parkway.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad and Ande Engleman.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, these guys are already going at it here. Let's introduce our panel. Martha Gould, Harry York, and Keith Lee. Welcome to all of you. Let's start off with John Mason's announcement here on the program today that he's running for the Supreme Court seat of Deborah Auguste. What do you think, Martha?
Well, I think it's going to be a very interesting campaign. I would agree. I would agree.
Thank you, Dr. Lee.
And I think the polls would show that the court's in trouble.
I believe the court is in trouble. I think you called it the beginning of a perfect storm. And I made the comment that I didn't think that Deborah would choose to run again. I'm told that she has announced that she will. And my comment to that is that was then and this is now, and who knows what's going to happen tomorrow.
Okay, Keith?
I agree. I mean, I think John Mason is a formidable opponent for anyone against whom he chooses to run. I think because, and Deborah's been a friend of mine for a number of years before she assumed the trial bench here in Washoe County. She's been a friend, and I still consider her a friend. But I think that, as John said, she led the court in a decision that's not only, I think, unpopular among the electorate, but probably from a legal standpoint leaves a lot to be desired.
Andy, your thoughts?
Well, I'm with you.
Okay. All right.
Excellent. Tiptoeing through the tulips.
Give us a brief update on what happened at the Board of Regents special session yesterday.
The Board of Regents went into special session yesterday, a personnel session, so it was closed, supposedly to talk about this investigation into, I'm going to forget her name now.
Topaz.
Deborah.
No.
Excuse me, I got Deborah on the brain. Bridget Topaz.
Right.
And but instead, once they got in there, they asked everyone to leave the room except for Jane, the Chancellor, Jane Nichols. And thereupon they spent the whole day going over, instead of looking anything to do with this Bridget Topaz, they looked instead at the money expenditures by Dr. Remington of Southern Nevada Community College and John Cummings, both of which have already gone over and been audited and been approved. The only questions I understand they had was the fact that John had given 35% tips at Adele's on 2 occasions, which for Adele's that's not unusual. And that was whereupon they got to page 350 by 11 o'clock of a 1,000-page investigator's report. I don't know if it includes the bill or not. And they're meeting again on Thursday. Now, from my perspective in dealing with the Nevada's open meeting law, already I think the Board of Regents has some major problems.
Well, among other things, I would say, at what point do we say that they're getting into some interesting areas of micromanaging? And also, this was not what was.
Session.
Yeah, but this was not on the agenda.
Thank you, Martha.
Well,
as I said,
I mean, perhaps this was a closed personnel session on the Chancellor of the system. I would hope it would not be, because I happen to think Jane Nichols is doing a tremendous job.
Evidently, but from sources inside the room, that's not what it was.
Well, I guess one would have to ask who those sources are and understand.
She's a journalist. She's going to jail first.
Are we going to have a UNR gate?
I guess one must question, why does the Board of Regents feel this even necessary to do this kind of investigation? I think that we are suffering from somewhat of a paralysis in this state when governing agencies, with the exception of Clark County, which took immediate action against Kathy McLean and Kelvin Atkinson. None of these governing agencies wish to proceed quickly and decisively and sort of take the consequences as they may fall afterwards, rather than agonizing through this process that will ultimately result in the same action probably being taken that should have been taken months before.
It's just bad management as far as I'm concerned, and I feel very strongly that when you become an administrator, you have an obligation to not only set policy but to follow policy, but you don't micromanage, and that's what I see happening, and that causes everything to sort of grind to a halt. And it's a waste of time, it's a waste of energy, and it's a waste of taxpayers' dollars.
Andy, you had some revelations about Speaker Perkins' office of the legislature.
Yes, yesterday I stumbled on the fact that Speaker Perkins is now running his office full-time. It is open year-round, and his secretary is there full-time and is being paid for by the taxpayers.
I would like to know why.
I'd like to know the definition of a citizen legislature.
Well,
as I said, I'd like to know why.
You know, I'm not sure we have a citizen legislature, at least in the old traditional sense. Legislative Council Bureau is fully staffed all the time. They're available. We have a number of interim committees, special and select and ongoing interim committees that meet on a very regular basis. In fact, the new legislative committee to study the impact of taxes meets tomorrow for the first time. So I don't know that we have a citizen legislature. I think
But
the
we
issue
keep claiming we do. We keep
well,
saying.
I mean, because it's
you know,
popular to claim that, I think, Sam.
Well, and the
because
fact that we don't pay these people, you know.
Well, and we
but
keep,
for
we
60
keep
that's
days.
another abomination.
Yeah, we keep saying it's
But then you
okay
do
for
have
public
to staff.
employees to be there because it's not full time. But you're saying they are working full time.
Sure.
But on
So
the
they are
other
double
hand,
dipping.
if we don't, when we talk about a citizen legislature, we don't have legislators who work full-time. And yet, in between sessions, they do hold meetings, they are on and off payroll.
Then why do they have full-time staff?
Beats the hell out of me.
Okay, Harry, I got a quick last one for you here.
And many of them don't.
Martha, I got to change subject here. Harry, there was an article in today's Reno Gazette-Journal that said that Sparks is considering dropping perhaps their financial support of Hot August nights because they don't have the money. Is that nuts or what?
It stunned me. I think that's very short-sightedness. They need to be looking at the investment that Hot August Nights brings to that community in both people and dollars. It's great exposure for Sparks. They have that downtown street set up solely for that purpose. Why would they drive it someplace else?
Maybe a little maneuvering. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers
so?
after this.
Lori Ann and the staff of St. Ives Florist invite you to a very special occasion. On Saturday, November 15th, you won't want to miss our 12th annual holiday open house and design preview from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. The St. Ives family would love to share our magical wonderland with you and your family. St. Ives Florist, simply the finest, hopes your holidays are simply the warmest.
And I look forward to seeing you Saturday, November 15th at our holiday open house.
Atlantis is cooking up a party. It's every diner's paradise. Toucan Charlie's Buffet and Grill, voted Reno's best buffet by locals year after year. Experience the Mongolian barbecue, new Asian station, and sumptuous exhibition stations filled with fresh entrees, salads, and desserts. Try the Friday night seafood buffet and Sunday champagne brunch. Atlantis!
Hi, I'm Dan.
And I'm Terry.
And this is Dan's Pizza and Parlor. Everything we make here is from scratch. Our fresh cut fries, homemade hamburgers made to order, fresh pizza dough made with 3 types of flour, and Terry's secret pizza sauce, and Dreyer's world famous ice cream. And if you have a sports team, your kids can really have a great time here. Oh! Dan's Pizza and Parlor on Victorian Avenue, just down the street from Great Basin Brewery next to Pyramid Highway.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by Charter Communication.
Nevada Newsmakers has commissioned a poll. Join us tomorrow and we'll tell you what you think about the issues.
We'll see you then.